Good morning to anyone who's going to watch this video. I thought I'd get on here early this morning to talk about a new album that came out just a few days ago. And I've gotten to listen to the album a few times, and I wanted to spotlight that album. Eventually, we're going to do the full discography of this band and talk about what are my favorite albums and why. But today, we're just going to talk about one, and then we'll talk about it probably again in the discography. So the album we're talking about today is Hex by Faun. Maybe easier to read over there. And it's going to be, nice and fun this way. Anyway, Faun is a band I've been fond of since I first heard them. My introduction came a bit before the Fondane album, Elben album. Boy, I can't speak today. Fondane Elben. Anyway, came around that time and they've become kind of a mainstay of my listening experience. Faun would be described as pagan folk music to some, dark folk to others, Mittelalter music to some. My German is not perfect, but they, I don't know, honestly fall in a lot of genres. But recently they've put out this new album. This is the second album that they have released on their own label, Pagan Folk Records. I have bought the album in two formats. I like to do that with bands that I really love because, you never know. It's a lot of these bands, how popular they are on Spotify or streaming or what have you. It doesn't mean that they're making hardly any money off of it. And I like to support the art that I love, so I buy physical copies, and I might even stream it a bit too. So they get a little bit of that, a little bit of this, and hopefully I'm doing my part in order to support them and show up for the music that I like. So this album is comprised of 12 tracks. If you're getting the record, there's going to be two total platters in there, and this is the earbook. If you're going to get any of them, I would actually pick this over the record. Now, I'm not a huge record listener. I like buying the records of the people I really love because they're fun to support, put a little more money towards them, and have that beautiful vinyl on your shelf. But this is just such a cool format. They did one for their last album as well. The neat thing about it, and I'm not going to show you a whole lot in here because, we got to be careful about that kind of stuff. But anyway, they have translations of the songs. They have art. They have the lyrics, and it's just a comprehensive package that will make you enjoy the album even more. You don't ever have to even take out the CD from this if you don't want to, but the writing in it is worth your time because you're going to learn about the material. Now, Faun would describe them doing albums thematically. So this album's theme really is magic. And it is a really magical album if you're going to talk about any of that. And honestly, when I think about my criteria for rating an album highly, one of the things is are the songs I'm going to be coming back to? Are they going to be ones that I feel like are quintessential band songs? And I would say of the 12 tracks we've got here, 11 out of 12 I would put in that category. I would listen to them on repeat. The other one, it's not bad or something. I don't think it's a bad song. It's just not the one I'm going to pick from them so much. But having 11 out of 12 is really high. So that means if it's two of my criteria for being ranked pretty high, one, it's going to get 11 points for those songs. And then it's also going to get an additional 3 points because more than 50%, I mean, the majority of the album, 11 out of 12, I just think is stellar content and stellar work. And there's nothing wrong with the other one, but like I said, doesn't quite meet my criteria of the one I'm going to come back to over and over again. It's good. And maybe I'll change my opinion on further listens. I only listened about 3 times now. So, anyway, 11 out of 12. That's great. So having said that, on my scale of what I'm going to rate the album as an album experience, and I've got to say, One of my favorite things with bands when you get a new album is just to listen to the album. I'll hear new songs filter in through. They've been releasing some of the songs from this album for quite a while now. But I don't like to listen to them more than maybe once because it's just different. It's different to hear them in the context. The way that it flows in this album, for example, from Belladonna into Lament and then to Nimue, um, all of those things just enhance those songs and make them more beautiful. So that even when you go back and you listen to them individually, they're still um, they're still better from the experience of having listened to them in the whole. So, having said that, I think this is a really great album. I think this is a cardinal representation of this band, and I would give it, as of today, I'd give it a 9 out of 10, and that's really high. Now, I'm not a super critical reviewer, and there's a chance that I'll raise it to 10 by the time I do the full discography, which will probably be soon. It might be October, the way I've got things laid out. But anyway, for now, I'm saying 9 out of 10, 11 songs, plus the 3 points. So we're looking at an album that's worth 23 points. That's a high-ranking album. So anyway, whatever format you like to listen to, whether it's just streaming or getting a physical copy, go out and check out this album. Amazing album by Faun. If you're into pagan folk music, if you're into darker folk music, if you like magical songs, this is an excellent album for you. Now, one last thing I want to talk about in this little mini review here is, well, is this a starting point for somebody who's new for this band? I like to ask that question whenever I hear a new album. Is this something that the uninitiated are going to enjoy? And I would say this is a pretty good starting point. Now, would I maybe recommend another album over this one to start with? Not necessarily. I think there's two kind of great ways to start with a band. Is you either start with where they are now, that's what would be this album, or you go back to some other point, a landmark point in their discography. So I'd maybe recommend to people who are uninitiated in them, maybe start with Faun Hex or Luna, or this album. This is a great album to begin with. And then work backwards. See what you like. If they're thematic. I guess that's the other thing I could say about Faun, since so many of their albums are thematic. Find the theme that you like. And one of their albums is about Midgard. Ties a lot to the Midgard ideas of Nordic folk. Luna ties to the moon and other things. Faun Hex, of course, of the elves, from the elves. So, just go with what moves you thematically. Maybe do a little research, and maybe we can talk about that in another video for starting with Faun. But anyway, this is a great starting point. If you've never heard Faun, check out this album, or check out, so much of their great work from their entire discography. They've been going for quite a while now. So great entry point to this style of music. Anyway, I hope you all have a wonderful week. That your Monday moves quick. I don't know if any of you will even see this on a Monday because we're so new and not going to get many views. But anyway, hope the music moves you and that you have an excellent week wherever you are. And come on back. There's going to be more stuff.